Fire Cup by Douyu, third quarterfinal. It doesn't get much better. This could be the grand final right here. It's 1-2-0 versus Moon, the best Undead versus Night Elf versus the best Night Elf versus Undead. It's gonna be a slobber knocker. We've seen this match at Next on Northern Isles, and this is exactly the map that we're starting on. A 5-star match for sure, offline in Guangzhou. I hope they can recreate this magic. Quarterfinal, best of 5, winner advances to the semis. Here we go.
All right, is it going to be a micro festival once again? This is, of course, where 1-0's strength lies. Moon, by no means is he bad at micro. No, he's really good. But where I always see him being the strongest is by trying to find the perfect strategy, trying to play around your opponent as best as you can and find the perfect counter to him. Let's see if he has a nice strategy here lined up. It's going to be starting out with the Keeper of the Grove. Obviously, on the other side of things, we have the Death Knight. Not going with... Oh, no, wait. It is a DK... Oh, it looks like DK Fiends, but it's a little bit different. It's a fast altar, late crypt, so this much is DK opening, but then usually would be coming the Graveyard next, but instead he's going for a Ziggurat later for more ghouls once the attack has started, I assume. So this is a very unusual undead opening.
I agree. I haven't seen this in quite some time. WFC, 1-0, switching up his early game builds. We've seen him with normal ghouls, with fiends, with basically everything. And yeah, Moon scouts this now, sees, oh, something is weird here, man. Double Ziggurat early. What's your plan? Of course, an harassing DK, I guess, but what can you really do against the Tuskars here? It should be finished after the Death Knight has arrived, but let's see what 1-0's plan is. Of course, he is a master in last hitting. Didn't get this one, but it was once again very close.
Yeah, as I said 3 days ago in the cast, when you do this perfectly as the Night Elf, you should be finishing this camp before the DK arrives. So I'm kind of surprised he's not going for a second summoning of Treants. If he did that, it would definitely have been in time, but now the DK is coming in, it's getting close. This might be in time for him to get the last hit with a coil. It's gonna be close, but it is just barely too late. Instead, the DK opts for the experience of the Treant, realizing he's just a split second too late, but a little bit of greed there by Moon, right? This was really, really close. A couple of lower damage rolls, and the DK could have stolen this. So by greed, I mean he didn't summon the second set of Treants, which perhaps he should have, but I mean, in the end, he wasn't punished, so all's well that ends well.
Well, this is what makes Moon so great, always going for the maximum, for the min-max, and he has the expansion, as he is greedy as fuck, we know that by now, same as Foggy. 1-0 with his impeccable scouting. Sees it again, like right after he puts it down. But of course, it's easy to defend here, but once there's ghouls, not gonna be that easy.
And so this is the downside of the DK opening with the later ghouls. Oh my god, these wisp saves, by the way. Heals it right away after the coil, so it doesn't actually get killed. All wisps survive. Yeah, this is the downside of this opening. The tech for the undead is very fast, but it takes a long time before you can be aggressive. If the Night Elf isn't paying attention and isn't scouting properly, maybe the DK plus skeletons can cancel the tree by themselves. But Moon is too much on top to let that happen. So this expo seems to be coming through, unless the ghouls do make it over, but he doesn't have much more time to do this.
True that. The ghouls must be coming over if he wants to cancel it before it finishes, but maybe he just lets it build, and once the tree moves over, because this spot has to be crept before, that's a good possibility for a creep check here for 1-0, and here they come, the ghoul gang, 5 of them. We'll see what this does.
It's gonna be starting off with creeping though. If they had run right across, I'm not even sure that it would have been good enough, because the keeper would have been able to entangle 2 pretty much. So I think it's understandable that he's not being aggressive. The chance of that working rather low, I would say. So instead, DK is gonna be opting to creep to get level 3 to become powerful himself. Same is the case for the Keeper of the Grove, who, by the way, still has good mana. This is the upside of him saving so many of his mana points earlier. Now he can continue to use those spells pretty easily. I don't think he used a single entangle yet, right? So nope. Very, very conservative with his mana usage.
Indeed, despite the buff on the Moonwells, there's no shop yet, right? But he could go for a shop and build and get some clarities, but no. It's also a lot of archers here, 6 of them. Is he going for more? Because that would be a lot of Hippo Riders then. But no, just the 6 archers. Level 3 for the Keeper is done, and the expansion moves over. The skeleton wakes up the creeps and tries to lure them to the expansion, I guess. Or if that works. It's a lot of damage already. They don't attack.
The creep camp in general, though, doesn't have that much damage, so probably shouldn't be in trouble here. Yeah, the strategy so far that Moon is displaying is like what he came up with, right? Going a couple of archers into Hippo Riders on tier 2 and then transitioning into Fairies later on. As he finds the DK and is going to force him to at least staff away here. Death Knight taking a good chunk of damage, can't really re-engage anymore, but he does find his level 3. So that's going to help him out here coming towards the mid game.
To that. Moon is on the roll, by the way. He won the last 3 big tournaments. Shenkui Cup, WGL, and BREC. Quite a phenomenal run for Moon. And yeah, maybe he can get 4 tournament wins in a row. But 120 is certainly one of his hardest opponents here. Nice steal. And the item is on the ground. It's a claw plus 9. That makes a big difference on the Lich. So, wait, he killed it.
The claws disappeared, yeah. This is the weird bug or whatever, when an item gets picked up, the projectiles still land on it, even when it's in the inventory. So the archer killed the item in the inventory of the Death Knight. Good heads up play there by Moon.
That was as close as it gets. But alright, the expansion is damaged. We do have good normal damage with 3 ghouls and 2 skeletons. How fast can Moon engage into this? Archers are coming. Keeper is there as well. Big mana here. So this should be a lot of entangles. And he knows Nova onto that Wisp, so there's no detonate. But how much damage can the ghouls do? He snipes another Wisp to not get detonated. But here's the entangle. Can't dispel against that, of course, without destroyers. And there's no dust on 120 side.
Where the hell's the Alchemist? Why don't you have an Alchemist, dude? You're tier 2. There's Wisps nearby, kind of. But he just didn't go for the Alchemist, and this has gotten fairly expensive now. Keeper is surrounded there against the trees. Gonna pop the Greater Invul, which may not even be good enough to save him in the end. But the DK is dropping low. He wants to force a TP on the first hero of the Undead, and is gonna be able to. So in the end, not too expensive for Moon. Most importantly, the expansion remains alive. But that cost him 1 or 2 archers, which honestly isn't that bad. But seriously, where was the Alchemist?
Well, we know that Moon loves to play his single hero stuff since the days of the Demon Hunter. We've seen this from him. And I'm not too surprised to see that here as well. Like, I don't know if there's a big reason for it. I mean, of course, faster leveling and stronger or more treants earlier. And maybe even Tranquility. But yeah, lack of acid bomb and damage. Ooh, 120 about to lose some ghouls here. Nope, instead you save it. But yeah, I'm not too surprised, to be honest. And, oh, well, here it is.
Yeah. We have seen this before, Alchemist solo, Keeper solo, excuse me, especially against Orc. But I think against Undead, that is a very poor idea. Because the Destroyers will be countering this Keeper of the Grove. You want to have at least some hero that is useful. And yeah, here he is now. I think he just forgot about it, honestly. Like, what was the sense of not picking him up earlier, but now picking him up, and still not getting any benefit from solo leveling the Keeper to a higher level? I think that may have just been forgotten, or there is a reason that I'm not seeing. Creepjack now coming in from the Undead side. Call Nova onto the Alchemist right away. He's dropping really low, but there is the staff, as always.
Indeed. Early staff by Moon. Well, not always. Sometimes Night Elves skip it because they are too greedy or just simply forget about it or have a late shot. But here the staff is on time. By the way, nice mana stone for the Keeper. That's a lot more mana regen and therefore more entangle, especially against Ghoul. That's very nice. We have a level 2 Lich now with Claws plus 6. And I read a nice idea, I think, in our YouTube comments. As one person suggested to go 1 level of Frost Armor with that Lich to counter the hero focus from the Alchemist Acid Bomb. What do you think about it?
The bonus armor isn't bad, but mostly Frost Armor is really good against melee units. And yes, it would work against the Alchemist, but it's the only melee unit in here. Could be worth considering though. The Dark Ritual, you don't really get too much use out of it. So maybe that could be an idea, going with the Nova instead.
I think it's a nice idea here. So it's also good against the Treants. So let's see. Fiend dies, and that's a big issue for 120. He only has 2. I don't know if there's web yet, but I don't think so, because he didn't web anything. So he's trying to go for the Wisps to delay the mining a little. But there's not much damage done here, and the army for 120 is very, very small. He doesn't have a town portal anymore, as he used it before to save the DK. And how much damage is there now? We have a bunch of treants here, one destroyer to dispel them, but he also needs to dispel the entangle, and so he can't dispel the summons all the time. And now it's time to run for 120. There's no chance to take this fight.
Yeah. The heroes aren't strong enough, the fiends haven't reached critical mass, Moon is finding a nice timing here, the expo has started to pay off for him. He is rushing up into upkeep, 59 supply for him, finding more and more pickoffs onto the undead side. The Lich would be the biggest. There's no coil! Wait, there is a coil! But he transfers the invul instead, that way the Lich will survive. Heal Stroll coming in as well to help him out a little bit, but still, it's only one fiend here. He needs the high numbers, at least 4 fiends. Even more if he can help it in any way. More are coming from the main. He has gone for the double crypt now, but he didn't have the time yet to go for this big army, which he so desperately needs.
Yeah,
the dispels are very quick, always on time to save those fiends if he can. But 2 of them still in trouble. Keeper has more mana. Long range entangle, this time onto the Lich. There is no coil ready. There, oh my god, the very last second and also the very last coil. Now the DK is certainly out of mana.
Oh, and another
They're healing still in his inventory though.
Heavy losses. He couldn't get a hero kill or anything. Another entangle on the Lich. Moon really wants to kill it. There's the big healing on the DK, but he doesn't swap it over. He's too desperate for that already. And that's GG Moon. Seemingly easy winning this game. Like, compared to what they played at next, that was very one-sided here.
Yeah, I agree. Not a lot of mistakes in there, really. I think at the creep jack at the gold mine, maybe there should have been more kills coming in. Like, he focused heavily on going for the keeper, despite him having a greater invul and a TP, obviously. If he focuses all of his nuke attention on the archers, maybe he doesn't kill 1 or 2, maybe he kills 3 or 4 or 5. That could have been looking good, better then. But, well, the keeper strat works out. If you have a good opening, a good game plan, and your strat works out, the expo can just win the game for you. And here we have to go back to the opening of 120s. This is where it's questionable if that is the best build, because you just can't cancel an early expansion. It's just impossible.
Yeah, we all know about the strength of the keeper, so you have to come up with some solutions. This was certainly not a working solution for 120. Also, yeah, late double crypt. Couldn't get too much done here. Also, like, the DK during creeping took a lot of hits, so he was down to 50% already. Then he went to the expansion, of course, very susceptible to entangle and focus, and you can't afford to lose the DK, so he had to play more careful than usual. Didn't work out, but this is a best of 5, so nothing is decided yet. Now it's 120's map choice, and of course, he goes for Last Refuge.
Yeah, also something to be mentioned, this was one of the best maps for Night Elf. May have even been the best. Good to expand, easy to creep up, super easy level 2 start, not easy of a DK start. So I think this is pretty much the best map for the Night Elf possibly gone already, unless we see Twisted Meadows later on. Now 120 going one of his preferred ones exactly. LR it is. Should be a better start, and all in all, chances for him here. Before we get into the next game, also, the timing there to actually go for the decisive push was a little bit questionable, right? I mean, obviously you want to attack soon before the expo has paid off too much. But I think if you bank a little longer, keep on creeping and playing passively, and going to upkeep, wait to 60, 65 supply, I think he could have stood better chances in that case. But hard to say.
Yeah, certainly hard to say. It feels to me that the Tinker is not really part of the undead play anymore. I saw plenty of Dark Rangers and a lot of 2-hero play, but especially if your goal is to kill the expansion early on, which certainly was the case for 120, then playing no Tinker, I don't know, man. I kind of miss his Pocket Factory damage.
Yeah, but that's the issue about the Tinker. He's only good against expansions. When it comes to the fight against Night Elf Air, he does absolutely nothing.
Well, don't you think cluster rockets are good or what?
I do not know. Also very expensive. 120 in these last couple of games against Night Elf seems to be very economy focused, almost never going into upkeep if he can help it, trying to prioritize mana potions and heal scrolls even before upkeep more. And of course, a Tinker coming in with 425 gold is going to be very expensive in the late game, especially when you need high numbers of fiends to deal with the air. So going for a Tinker is kind of a super risky play. If you don't kill the Expo very quickly with it, it's gonna backfire hard on you. Alright, but let's focus on the second game here. What is happening? The
Fiend
opening is looking very similar from 1-0. It is this time an actual Ted Fiend build order, with a graveyard coming in as the 5th building, or I guess 6th building with the Necropolis, or the 7th actually with the Haunted Goldmine, but not the 2nd Ziggurat, but rather the graveyard. So he's going to be stuck on 3 to 4 ghouls for quite a while, and is once again not going to be able to be aggressive with anything other than his DK. Could once more mean that this could be a very early, easy expansion for the Night Elf.
Yeah, and that should be the typical thing for Moon to do. He goes Keeper, green spot, and then most likely walking over here and build an expansion somewhere here. This time, though, we will have Mercenaries if 1-0 decides to go for it. It's not the easiest creep spot to take, but the Shadow Priest is a key unit against the Keeper, so I wonder if he prioritizes that at all.
It's hard to creep up early, though. It's a really hard Merc camp.
You can lure them out and then just get the Shadow Priest. It takes some time, though.
I'm not sure if it works with this camp because of the 2 end snares.
Yeah, it does. Like, I saw it, oh, I don't know, yesterday? Or something?
Oh, okay. I've never seen the pull tricks being done here before. I like the DK being aggressive, but again, imagine if he had a slightly later DK, he would be arriving here 10 seconds later. 10 seconds later wouldn't make any difference in this kind of scenario. And imagine he had a ghoul opening. By now, he would have 5 ghouls, then you start teching, you go for 6 ghouls, the DK keeps on being annoying, and your ghouls can creep your gold mine by themselves. 6 ghouls is going to be enough to do this. The DK gets 1 last hit steal with a coil, then he's level 2, and with that, he's going to be harassing the Night Elf way more. He will hit level 2, the Keeper will hit level 2, then you can come over with 5, 4, maybe even 6 ghouls, then cancel the expansion. I have to say, I just think this opening is not the correct one.
We'll see how it unfolds. He gets 5 ghouls anyway, to, of course, do a little more damage and have a little bit more to creep with. But yeah, this harassing DK doesn't do anything for now. He's just losing a bit of HP, he's delaying the creeping, but I guess for Moon that's fine. Because there's no real threat to be expected. He's teching as well. So for the Korean Night Elf, everything according to plan, I guess. There's no entangle at the moment, but that will be fixed after this Ogre Magi.
You can't cancel the Night Elf expansion with 5 ghouls, somebody is saying in chat. That is absolutely incorrect. 5 ghouls plus level 2 DK plus skeletons is an easy cancel on this expansion. Especially when the Keeper's level 1, which he's accomplishing by the DK being around here. Which could have also been done with a ghoul opening. But alright, I don't want to harp on this too much. 1-0 seems to have found his opening, and he has seen success with it previously. But in previous games that I saw of him, he was even able to cancel expansions sometimes with only skeletons. But that only works when the Night Elf is not paying attention, and Moon will not be so easily distracted and easily thwarted in his early expansion play. And once again, his strategy seems to be coming to fruition. This, one more time, has not been cancelled.
True. And the shop is coming up as well for the early staff that helped the Alchemist a lot in game 1. So 1-0. Is his plan to counter-expand? He's going earlier Fiends, which I like, as I think you need the higher numbers early on against the air. So he gets that, and creeping is also easy here on Last Refuge. He is going for the Mercenary camp, so that's gonna be a big boost to level 2.5 something. And then he could be going for an expansion if Moon's numbers are not high enough then.
Definitely has to wait to assail the expansion though until level tier 3, I mean. Good Wisp Scout here. I really like the Shadow Priest that are finding more and more openings into the game. Mainly there to save Fiends should the Keeper in fact decide to be aggressive. Boots of Quel'Thalas for him, not the greatest. And once again, Keeper becoming pretty aggressive here early on. Nice multitasking by Moon. At the same time going for his own Mercenary camp.
Without the Keeper, because the Keeper is harassing. He has another Sentry Ward here at level 3, of course. So this Shadow Priest could be dead if he entangles, and also the DK could catch a few more hits than necessary. But he's once again very conservative on his mana.
Yeah. Realizing that was a bit of... Should have definitely gone for one, right? He was full mana. You forced the first Abolish. That's gonna be the last Abolish the next Entangle then with Treant and maybe even Alchemist can certainly find some kills. So maybe a little bit too conservative, but alright. Once again, by the way, he found the Sentry Ward. It's going to give him so much information.
Yeah, I'm just showing the vision of the Sentry Ward here in the upper left. It covers so much for Moon. It's crazy. But we have the engagement here. Casual tier 2 creep spot at the Ogre Magi, but 1-0 is contesting this with both heroes being quite low already, though aiming for a surround on this keeper, but the skeleton's a little too slow.
Coil Nova hit him though, only level 1 coil, but Keeper, he is pretty squishy, so now he's low, has to be careful, has to go back. 1-0, changing up his build order a little bit here, moving towards the mid game. He didn't super rush tier 3 as we usually see, he went for the earlier Slaughterhouse to have more healing out more quickly. It's going to help with the creeping and the contesting of the map, but is of course going to be delaying Orb and Destroyers by at least a little bit.
He's not going for the trolls here, wants to be aggressive with a little bit of a herd army. Demon Hunter second.
That's pretty unusual.
With evasion first as well, so there is no mana burn right now.
Yeah, it's going to be better for creeping. But of course, it's going to be moving into mana burn unless he suddenly goes Immolation and I completely lose my mind. But that is very doubtful. 1-0 now, deciding to try to be aggressive against the expansion. And once again, the timing here is looking a little bit questionable. He doesn't have tier 3. He only has a couple of Fiends. He has 3-1 heroes, but no Orb. And the drains are coming out. The Wisp usage here, very good. It's pretty expensive to be used here by Moon. But as long as he holds on, it's all fine and dandy.
By the way, first Archer, wow, nice death by Moon with like 0.5 HP. Went of mana stealing being used, but there's still an Entangle and a set of Treants. He has Growth of the Beast as well. 1-0 absolutely needs the spell against this army.
He may even need to TP out of this, as he still, exactly, doesn't have the spell. Here come the first Hippo Riders. Does he have Web? That's the question. It looks like the answer is no. Demon Hunter dropping low, Coil, Nova, Staff is on cooldown. Now he's regretting saving that Archer earlier. Second hero falls, a bit of a misstep. Especially not going for the invul earlier when he was at the shop. The first mistake that Moon is showing so far in this series.
And it was a level 2 Demon Hunter, so it won't be back in 20 seconds. Tome of experience for the Lich, getting closer to level 3. He goes for the invul now as he knows how good the disable is and how high the damage will be of this Demon Hunter. But he continues mining with only 4 Wisps in the mine though. Now building the 5th one, maxing out at 50 with only 4 hippos, so he has to break upkeep soon, and he will do that, I guess, with the new Moonwell in construction. No double crypt, no counter expansion. 1-0 just positions himself closer to the Night Elf base, creeping a little there. But Moon really doesn't care, like he's creeping up his keeper, very comfortable with it. Healing ward's pretty nice, I guess, especially during the creeping phase when it's about the rat spots. And
Training
again,
experience, though, now at the moment very beneficial for 1-2-0. The Keeper doesn't really scale that much anymore, and the Demon Hunter is dead anyways. Whereas 2 level ups for him, level 3 and level 4, would be a big deal for each hero respectively.
is 1-2-0's cat back? In the group stage, he had to pause the game quite a few times.
Jumping onto the keyboard once again. Disrupting the only undead left in the tournament.
How do you like this Demon Hunter pick?
Pretty good. I like Demon Hunter always against undead. Problem is, if he doesn't hit level 3, he can be very underwhelming in the late game. Whereas the Alchemist will always do something. But here we have the big engagement coming in. The Destroyer dies! Big mistake! Too slow there by 1-2-0 to heal his air anti-magic unit. And now he doesn't even have this spell. This was a massive error from the undead. One that could cost him the game right here. As he's dropping down to 41 supply only. And no more statues, no more destroyers. He can't really fight right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, always so greedy with the last second coils, but that was too slow. And that was 5 supply gone, dispel gone, magic damage gone. That hurt. And now, desperately going for the red spot. Moon is, of course, around the corner. It's gonna jack this.
Oh my god, is he not even gonna get the big boy? He has to go in with a DK in a bad position now. Mass webs coming out though. The first couple of losses will be suffered from Moon's side. Ghouls are starting to fall, but they don't matter too much. Lich is low mana now, but he's level 3. Already more coils coming in. The DK has barely any mana left here, to be honest. Entangle's coming in, still no Dispel. Actually from the Shadow Priest there comes one Abolish, and that does save the Fiend, but some still will be falling. There doesn't seem to be much Dispel here at all still, as this Destroyer is also too late. More and more Fiends are dying off as 120 drops down back to 38 supply against the overtowering 57 of Moon, who's gonna find almost another Fiend kill.
Yeah, but he can just fly over the army and just kill it up. Oh, not going for it. The Shadow Priest is gone for good now. And this ferry, okay, this ferry will fall, but did you see the item? Because it's not on the Keeper.
Now the Ogre Lord is still alive.
Ah, no, Crystal Ball it is.
Oh, okay, the Demon actually dove in there to get that item, okay.
So, 2 super hurt units here, good micro by Moon throughout the entire series thus far. 2 of agility, nice for the Demon Hunter as well. Crystal Ball being sold, could have been nice against the Fiends and Burrow, but we haven't seen Burrow from 1-0. Also, I didn't like his kiting game that much here in the fight on the right. Stood still for quite a long time, which is usually not supposed to be the case, and the Demon Hunter is an absolute beast. Double Gloves of Haste and the Claws of Attack and level 3. This is gonna hurt.
And upon reaching level 3, he really becomes a lot more strong. And once again, we have to question 1-0's timing there. His attack at the expansion, both times, like, once he only had 1 statue / destroy, the other time he wasn't even tier 3, when he could have just been creeping instead. It is seeming a little bit ineffective here, the moments when he decides to take these engagements. Here's another one. Once again, we're starting off by 1 Fiend almost dying. Entangle onto the other one, but the Dispel this time is quick. But once again, it is so many air units. The Demon dropping low one more time, but the Invul will save him. He also has a heal potion left after this one. And again, the Dispel is a little bit late. That could have been 1 second earlier. That would have resulted in less damage onto the Fiend, but it will survive. However, now the Undead Hero's out of mana once again. And now there is no more healing for these Fiends.
That's gonna hurt. I mean, yeah, he dispels the Entangle, but the air units are just haunting these Fiends down. Maybe in his own base, maybe at home turf, he can win this Invo Potion triggered on the Lich, who's close to level 4. But his Nova is really not doing too much against all the fairies. Hero Nuke also not an option as it seems, and there is no coil, no TP, nothing. And GG by 1-0, man. Moon with 3 match points in a row now. And even on 1-0's first map pick, there wasn't too much of a chance for 1-0.
Yeah, a little bit stubborn there. And kind of the first map revisited in a lot of ways. The opening is almost the same. Once again, it results in him not being able to cancel the expansion, which you don't have to do. You don't absolutely have to do it. But then later on, the timings for him to push and be aggressive also seemed weird. He never got to the Fiend numbers that he needed when he could have played more defensive. I know I'm sounding like a broken record here, but it was kind of 2 times the same game. And 2 times Moon was just too strong to fall against this nonsense.
Yeah. I agree. It's never enough damage to kill the expansion. He's never going for his own expansion. It's certainly different from what we've seen last week from 1-0.
Like, what was that first attack? He attacked with 1 statue and 3 Fiends. He didn't have Web. He didn't have tier 3. Like what saved him there was the Demon Hunter kill. That made it all right. Otherwise, it would have been a complete disaster. But you can't even rely on that happening. It seems a little bit off today.
Yeah, and Amazonia is next. This is one of the best Night Elf maps we have. And it's
absolutely. He kind of needed to win LR, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so
but
too.
It didn't happen.
So one of the observers has the red color, which of course is necessary to start this. So we start this color carousel. This will take some time.
I wonder if it's the same guy from a couple of days ago. I know he's not here, I think. All right, this could be a quick win here for Moon. Northern Isles, I mean. Of course, a very good Night Elf map, but this is kind of the Night Elf map. Especially against human, though, I'd say. Of course, by no means bad against undead either. But it's a smaller map. It's going to be easier to attack. It's going to be harder to expand, which is, or at least so far seems to be, the center point of Moon's strategy. And I'm really surprised that 1-0 is not trying to counter it harder, with Moon having been playing like this in this matchup for so long. He just lets it happen game after game.
Amazonia is one of those maps, though, where you can play a Dreadlord, where you can play an expansion, where you can play a Ghoul Rush. Maybe we will see about that, more of a Lucifer approach than the Chinese approach. We haven't seen any signs of Gargs yet, which is also an opportunity at the moment for Undead to go into like quite a few Gargs. Then the first fight happens, then you switch into Fiends, which I think is a pretty smart build. It's risky though.
Especially against Moon's strat, who's gonna have double hippo production at the ready already. That can backfire pretty hard. But if you find that awesome timing that WFZ showed, just super aggro on tier 2, you can overwhelm. But that just usually really isn't 1-2-0's way of playing.
Alright, normal stuff for Moon. It's the Alta Ancient build for Lightning Shield creep on 1-2-0 side. Alta first again.
Yep, it's starting off as a DK Fiend build order again. Third time in a row. But this time a 6th Acolyte. I don't think we saw that one before.
Nope.
So he's going to be able to scout with this. He's going to be able to harass the Ancient of War, perhaps. He's going to be able to scout for a Tree of Life coming up. But he's going to be delaying his lumber income a little bit, since the ghouls will be delayed slightly because of that Acolyte. And thus delaying the tier 2 even further. But at least he's going to have a nice head start with a DK, as of course Lightning Shield creep should be coming in. That is what we've been seeing continuously over the last couple of months.
Sheep already slaughtered, so we can get the skeletons from there. What can he do with his Acolyte? Can he disrupt the creeping at least a little bit? It's no Demon Hunter, it's again a Keeper of the Grove. So 3 times the same first heroes. And cool production start. This time no early graveyard. So Wisp in position, Archer is coming. Can he prevent the Lightning Shield somehow? Not really, right?
Not reliably, I don't think. He's dragging over the other creep camp, so he's making this more difficult, more annoying. Wisps are gonna be coming in for repair, they have to. Of course, ideally he would oh, there's another Lightning Shield. This is making this quite a bit more difficult now. Yep. But the Keeper is here, Treants will be spawned, and it forces a bit of Wisp repair, but in the end, that is really all it does.
He denied the big one.
Shield. He denied it, the creep camp denied itself with a Lightning Shield, and that is a big deal.
Do you think it's on purpose by 1-2-0 to kind of trigger the second Lightning Shield?
You can't really reliably do that, because the creeps kind of do what they want with the Lightning Shield. But the idea was to make this more difficult and to possibly force a mistake or an unfortunate event such as this. So the idea was there to make this a little bit more difficult, and a bit of luck here coming 1-2-0's way, which he can certainly use.
Yeah. Expansions here not as easy as on other maps that we've seen before for Moon. Tech has not started yet as well, going more into Archers. 1-2-0 started his tech now, so in the absence of Entangle, maybe he can do some little bit of damage. Amazonia, one of the maps where it's pretty easy to get level 3, but we don't see that yet as the level 2 is denied. It's a good start for 1-2-0 for sure.
Yeah, and still no expansion. The tech is starting. No early expansion this time around by Moon. I wonder, is he doing this because of not getting level 2? But with Detonate against skeletons, usually you can always rely on being able to get that. I must say this is surprising me quite a lot. I thought this was going to be live or die by the fast expansion throughout the entire series, but no, he's changing it up right now, and this is a good sign, I think, for the Undead, as Night Elf, especially with the Keeper, has to be upper base in the late game.
Yeah. Ghouls are coming out now, as the tech is at 30%. No Nerubian Tower, by the way. How do you feel about that, Remo?
I think I commented on that at length in previous casts. But you know, people are getting more and more greedy. That's the way it goes in pretty much any... Oh, nice. Ooh. Almost gets the last hit there, but good sidestepping, good playing around it by 1-2-0. Now he himself almost level 2. And keeps all the ghouls alive. Would love to get his aura here. Should be able to get it somewhat soon. Keeper looking for some kills, and he is expanding now during the tech.
This Lightning Shield hurts, but 1-2-0 is nicely repositioning his ghouls to not take that much damage. Claws for him, level 2 for him. And as he said, expansion is coming for Moon. quite a bit later than on the other games, but same goes for the graveyard. So early Fiends is not gonna happen as Moon is creeping his way up to level 3.
Skeleton checking out what's going on, sees the creeping, and is probably assuming that there is an expansion behind this. But if he sees it now, it's a late scout, and once again, this would now be too late to cancel. But the expo was later, there was more time for the knife to produce, so when it comes this late, it is a danger. When the expo comes up very early, you can definitely cancel, but when there's 5 archers on the field, in this case even 6 archers, ghouls going there may not have the firepower as they're just getting taken out by the archers instead. So this time, not trying to go for the cancel, perhaps the better idea.
What a sweet block by 120 here to... Oh, the coil a little too late. To save this ghoul, I was about to say, but coil should be on cooldown, so that's a double kill. Gets denied though, but now there is quite a few ghouls, but they are a little hurt from the creeping, and the alchemist is coming in. Moon is very dominant on the map now.
There's no Narrow Tower here. There's no second hero Lich. This could have been an opening to perhaps dive a little into the main. But of course, diving in on that main base is always scary. Suddenly the Lich comes out and a Nova hits you onto 4 archers. Coil follow-up, ghouls right-clicks, boom, suddenly all your archers are dead. So understandable that Moon is playing this more passively, especially with him having the nice transition into Hippo Riders soon as his Ancients of Winds are coming up.
Poison Ivy is forcing a potion. Lich is coming in, but yeah, only Nova, no orb. Right clicks aren't that scary as he doesn't swap over the claws, but he gets the surround of the Alk. For how long though? The skeletons are about to expire. Lich has to move away already, and the DK is low as well. He's coiled overing him, so he gets the second hero kill.
Very nice. That's a nice grab right there. Big detonate coming in against the skeletons, yeah, but really well done. Perhaps Moon busy looking across the map as he's creeping in the meantime, and just slipping there in attention for a little moment. Boom, you're surrounded by skeletons, and your hero is dead. It's only level 1 hero, of course. He's going to be coming back very, very quickly, but it's also time where he wasn't leveling. Because of this one death, he's going to have a very tough time scaling here into this late game.
Yeah, That's one of the biggest creep spots here on the map, and the Alchemist kind of missed it. And now there's no acid bomb at the moment, and some decent damage on this tree who was tanking against the creeps. But yeah, he can't knock it down, but he delays the Entangled Goldmine, buying a little bit more time. And this adds up for 120 as he's waiting for his tier 3. Fiends are already in the base, still a bunch of ghouls. Statues are coming as well. But now he has to go as the Alchemist is back as well.
May force a TP out of him. No, only a ghoul lost. That's gonna make it 3 ghoul losses so far this game, which is completely fine, considering this is a somewhat late expansion and an alchemist kill. So still, this game so far has gone fairly well for 120. Note, by the way, he has a second potion of healing now, so that's 300 gold invested into potions so far this game.
Yeah.
That will slow him down a little bit, trying to get to his ultimate tier 3 army.
120 needs to win this game, and it looks okay. It looks the best of all 3 games so far, I would say, but Moon's strongest phase is coming once the undead heroes are not that high of a level. That is the case, not even level 3 for the DK. That changes now, but Lich is only level 1 as well. The air army is getting stronger and stronger with the mass production here, and he will break 50 supply rather fast, I'd say. The Wisps are in position for this Entangled Goldmine. So will this be another Invo potion for 120? He can't really afford it with only 36 supply. Thank you very much, P-Town Sen, for the sub.
Very much indeed. He has a health potion still left, so I don't think he needs the invul right now, especially considering that the Alchemist has had this poor early game and is probably still stuck on level 2. Where is he? In the main. Yeah, exactly. Just reached level 2. Potion of healing on him as well, and 120 did go for the invul. Once again, delaying Fiend production for this. At least he's going for 2 statues this time around. Last game he went for only 1 statue for a very long time, which is indeed questionable. And again, look at this timing. He's attacking with 2 Fiends and a statue.
Yeah, 3 Fiends, but yeah.
What is this gonna do? It's gonna kill an Ancient of War maybe, and it's gonna force the Night Elf back. But it's not gonna really result in any big kind of damage.
Yeah.
When he could just be creeping to level 3 and 4 right now.
He has Web, but no Dispel. The first Fiend falls. There was plenty. Oh, I think 120 is out of this game. Oh, is he? No. There was no coil at all to save this Fiend. Destroyer up now. But what's this supposed to do? Entangle is coming in, right clicks, chemical rage, tons of damage on this undead army, and he can just run away from this. It's not even kiting because he's not doing any damage.
The spell came in barely in time. The Alchemist dropping really low. This might be a kill. How can I still forget about the staff? The staff is there. The staff saves him. Okay, so he hasn't at least... Okay, he lost one Fiend because of cat or tab out or whatever. I don't know what that was. By the way, nice show of sportsmanship. When Moon realized, he stopped attacking and was moving back and forth a little bit with the army, not wanting to abuse this. But 1-0 seems to return there. But again, like, this is such a strange timing. This is not yet a dangerous undead army. And the coil is again too late. What is going on?
This is usually not happening with this small army. The spells are on point. Now the coil arrives, making it a little more careful now, starting these earlier. Once again, aiming for the Alchemist, but he has so much HP. Acid Bomb into the Fiends again. Two of them are about to die. The damage is nicely spread. Looks like Spirit Link right here. So far, all Fiends safe though, but that's going to change. Now Alchemist dies for the second time thanks to the Nova, but on what cost? Ooh, these clutch coil.
Yeah, gets him barely in time. On the move back, the shadow stepping of the statues, by the way, also isn't too great. He could be getting more value out of these. Again, this is not looking like 1-0's strongest game, but it's not over. He didn't play perfectly there, but it's still salvageable, I would say. But it's starting to get to this dangerous territory as Moon is now up at 64 supply. It won't take much longer, and this will have hit critical mass if he's not there already.
Yeah, and then focusing becomes so much easier with this bunch of fairy dragons or hippo riders. There's still so many hippo riders in this army. Usually you kill them and they get swapped out by fairies, but that's not happening here. They are still alive the entire time. Statues are falling, and yeah, he's webbing, he's kiting, he's getting a little bit of stuff done. But it seems overwhelming again. How many coils are left? Like 2 maybe with the mana regen.
With the Alchemist missing here, it is hard to find these kills. It's really not a lot of DPS coming out despite the big numbers that Moon has by now. So 1-0 trying to fight now, trying to get as much value as he can at the moment. Makes sense, and Moon actually TPing out.
Huh.
Saving all of his units.
That was good. Like 1-0 didn't lose anything. Statue can heal them up now. He can go to 50 and still has a decent bank to work with. Of course, Moon is gathering from 2 gold mines, but he's an upkeep as well, so the echo advantage isn't that big at the moment.
But of course it is still there, and yes, 1-0 didn't lose much in that last 1 or 2 minutes of that engagement, but at the same time he didn't kill much. The mana flares onto the webbed fairy dragons came in really clutch, saving or at least delaying their deaths by a lot. Now we're at 5 Fiends. This is where it starts to get scary, but now it's so late into the game that it's so many air units from the Night Elf, and again the coil and the Dispel was too late. The next Fiend seems to be falling shortly after as well, and he's trading in a way that he can't afford being down a base.
Not at the moment, yeah. Once the Alchemist is back, this is so much more damage thanks to the Acid Bomb. Coils again, stabilizing a little. 2 Fiends about to die, though.
Forces are under attack.
Alright, big creep camp here. The best item might even for once not be the flute, but rather the ancient Django. Movement speed is what it's all about. Yeah, and he is going for the frost armor, by the way. Nice creep jack coming in here from the Night Elf side. Once again, he's finding the weak Fiends exposed, and that is it already.
Yeah, that creep spot was way too greedy. That was pretty obvious. Moon was so close to the creeping position, and I mean, if that works, you get a bunch of experience and the item, and he was maybe a little desperate already after those last fights, but man, Moon seeing this, engaging, killing a bunch of stuff, and there was, again, no chance for 1-0. What a slaughter!
The next 3-0, man.
Indeed, man. 3
Keeps
times
on happening.
3-0. This was such a different series than it was at Next, where 1-0 was seemingly playing flawless and everything worked. Not here.
Yeah. Absolutely. Wow. It was completely different.
Disappointing, actually.
This was not 1-0's day at all. Game 1 and 2, there were some in my opinion, build imperfections and wrong decisions for push timings. But game 3, there were a lot of micro mistakes, which is really rare to see.
Yeah.
So this was just really not 120's day.
It wasn't.
I'm seeing a lot of elf complaints in the chat. Which
I closed chat already.
This is not why this game was lost. This was 120 making way too many mistakes.
It was not the greatest Moon that we've ever seen, but very solid play. Like basically no mistakes. Like 2 times with the Alchemist, maybe where it got killed, but apart from that, nothing really big to complain about in Moon's play. Just solid standard, but today it was enough to kill 120 3-0, and wow, it's pretty good performance here.
I mean, this is the way that a lot of games against Keeper are looking. To be fair, when you make a few mistakes, you're gonna have a hard time. But to be fair, this is the way that Anand has always looked. Not just in this patch. You make 1, 2, 3 mistakes, and usually the game is over. 1-0, and sometimes even Lucifer and WZ were able to overcome this. But please, guys, don't put it all on Night Elf. This is silly. This was Moon playing way better, and he's deservedly so now in the semifinals.
Indeed. Who's gonna be his opponent? Lawliot or Infi? The old classic is gonna happen again. Is it gonna be a Night Elf mirror? Is Infi gonna play Orc? Most likely not. Is he sticking to human? Would be the third time we see a human in this tournament. So I'm hoping for that, but I am thinking it's going to be a Night Elf mirror. We'll see. Korea versus China once again. Korea took the lead here. Could be only one Chinese in the semifinals if this happens. As of course, Foggy versus TH is our first semifinal. The invites are coming. We go into a little break though. Oh, actually, they are not coming. We go into a little break, and then we'll be right back with another best of 5 to determine the last of the top 4 players. See you in a bit.